Welcome everyone for our Monday night shiur. Ariel, you good?
Thank you.
First of all, before we start our shiur, we have a lot to say today. I'm going to try to make it short and sweet. But first, our shiur is sponsored in Eilun Ishmat. My cousin Shlomit Bat Ksenia, today is her 30 days. Ruach Hashem Tedicheh Gadaev. And also my grandmother. Her yortzeit is Tanit Esther. Ziva Zoya Bat Yefat Toar. Ruach Hashem Tedicheh Gadaev. Amen. And also, as usual, our shiur is sponsored by our usual sponsors. The Shemono family, Yisrael Ben Leah and his wife Michal Bat Chana, the kids Yosef Chaim, Avigail Tamar, Elisheva Chana, and Sarah Rivka, may they have bracha, v'atzlacha, and yeshua gedolot. May the kids always go b'derech HaTorah, b'derech HaMitzvot. May they find their soulmates at the right time. And also, Rifat Shlemat Reuven Ben Shoshana. May Hashem give him a speedy recovery. Amen. So tonight we're talking about Purim, the topic of our shiur. I put, what is the Purim Seuda? What is it? So we know that the month of Adar, Mishenichnas Adar, Marbin Besimcha. So first of all, what does that mean? Mishenichnas Adar, we intensify Simcha. We take Simcha to the next level. Lahavdil, we say Mishenichnas Av, when the month of Av comes in, Mema'atin Besimcha. We decrease the levels of happiness, simcha. What does that mean, we intensify simcha? How do you intensify simcha? What does that mean? So there are pirushim, believe it or not, that says every day you should drink a little bit of wine. Get in the spirit. It's the season to be in the spirit. There is a pirush like that. I heard once, it's a mitzvah every day, a little shot. Get into the lebasume, you know? Get yourself, Get yourself a little bit tipsy. We don't like this perush so much because it's not a healthy perush. But there are perushim about how do you intensify simcha? It doesn't make sense. How does simcha happen, Avraham? How does it happen? Something good happens, spontaneous. Something good happens to you. So what are you? You're b'simcha, you hear good news. You're b'simcha, your stocks went up. You're b'simcha, gas goes up, you go less b'simcha. Everything happens as a result. You don't just get b'simcha. So it's first, that's a she'ela, it's a big question. How do you marbin b'simcha? And if Chazal said, Mishenichnas Adar marbin b'simcha, you have to intensify simcha. What does that mean? It's a mitzvah. How does one be in this mitzvah? It's like God tells us, Ve'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha. Love Hashem, your God. What do you mean love you? You're not tangible. I cannot see you. How do I love you? Correct? It's the same question. How do you do something that I need to feel it. I need to have something to feel it. How does Hashem want me to love him? It's the same question. Second thing, Adar comes in. I was in a shul this morning. I was davening by Rabbi Friedman's. And the Hasidim, at least some Hasidim, have a minhag. They don't say Tachanun starting already this morning. They didn't say Tachanun anymore. No more Ana. Yud Aleph, Yud Bet, Yud Gimel, Yud Dal, and Tedva. 5 days they don't say Tachanun. At least his shul was like that. Some shuls they always skip Tachanun. They're Ma'ala Mazal. But this shul, at least, I was there, I was there. Suddenly he goes to Yishem. Straight to that. And I'm in the middle of Shmoneh Esrei. Usually my Shmoneh Esrei is a bit longer in Shacharit. But I want to hear the Torah. I had to stay for the second minyan to hear the Torah. Because he skipped Tachanun. And after the davening was finished, all the guys were asking, like, why did he skip Ana? So, in the month of Adar, we see that there's some places, at least, that they don't say Ana. Why do they skip Ana in 11, 12, 13, 14, 15? Well, 14 and 15 of Adar is Purim. And in Yerushalayim, they celebrate Purim when? On the 15th, on Shushan Purim, correct? Why 11, 12, 13 Adar they skip Ana? At least some shuls, because the Mishnah, the first Mishnah in Masechet Megillah, that there were places that they couldn't say, hear the Megillah. So they would go to the city earlier, they would start already on the 11th day. Already they would be able to read the Megillah. So we see already from today, guys, this morning, till Purim, there is a ha'ara of Purim. It intensifies. It gets stronger. I read Tachanun to myself I read. But they didn't. But the point is that we see from here that the power of Purim, it intensifies. We don't have that, by the way, on Pesach. Whoever knows a little bit of Ari Kadosh, Rashash, a little bit, we speak about that a lot over here. I was zocheh when I was in Eretz Yisrael to daven by the kever of the Rashash over there, and Rav Chaim de la Rosa and Har Zeitim in the Mount of Olives. Very special place, very, very holy place. We davened by Rav Salman Eliyahu. We went through Shar Shechem, correct? We davened by Rav Chaim de la Rosa, the Torah Chacham. We davened by the Or HaChaim HaKadosh. We couldn't get downstairs to the Navi Zechariah and Yirmiyahu, but we davened by very holy places. It was very, very spiritual. And over there, the Rashash says, in Pesach, for example, on the night of Pesach, we say Hallel. We don't have that in any holiday. But in the night of Pesach, we say Hallel, correct? With the bracha. You guys also say Hallel with the bracha, right? I think on the night of Pesach, everyone does. By us, even the women say it. You got to tell your wives. You should say Hallel with the bracha before you come home on the night of Passover. They should say Hallel with the bracha. It's a minhag, and they have to keep this minhag. The Rashash explains, the Ari HaKadosh explains, that when it comes to Pesach, all the shefa of Pesach comes in one shot, in one boom, like an atomic bomb. Yes, one boom it comes in. It doesn't start small and it intensifies. There's no intensification. And then because it comes in such a boom on Passover, then we need 49 days to do the job slowly, again, till we get to Shavuot, the Matan Torah. But what's this? Now, besides from that, we get to the 14th of Adar. What do we have? Purim. Now, something very interesting we have in Purim. All holidays we celebrate outside of Israel. How many of the days? Two, right? Pesach, 2 days. Shavuot, 2 days. Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah is the whole world. Only 2 holidays, even if you're outside of Israel, you celebrate 1 day. Yom Kippur, that's because we don't want you to fast 2 days straight. Because if you would fast 2 days straight, I don't know how many people would stay in the Judaism. And the second thing is Purim. Purim and Yom Kippur are 2 holidays that we only, even we're chutz la'aretz, we celebrate 1 day. Also, you're going to drink too much, you're saying, for Purim. Oh, you want the wine? Okay, so get up and get some wine. You're supposed to drink vodka, not wine. Anyways, so Purim we see is like Yom Kippur. Very interesting. Now Purim comes, we celebrate 1 day. In Yerushalayim, they celebrate Purim on the 15th day. The second day, on the 15th of Adar. Oh, wait a second. What's going on over here? Who has the real Purim? Who has the Ha'ara? Who has the Kiddusha? I remember when I was younger, we used to go to Williamsburg. They used to make over there Seudat Purim. Williamsburg, place of the Hasidim. They used to make the Seudat Purim right close to the sunset. Why? To connect the 14th day to the 15th day. We don't do that over here. We follow the Ari and the Rashash. The Ari says, really, the right way to do it, we're going to talk about it tonight, Kavanot of the Purim. If you want to keep the Kedusha of Purim, right after Shacharit, wash your hands and say Amotzi. And you have to be in a Seuda the whole day. If you want to keep the Hara of Purim, the Kedusha of the Purim, all day you have to be in a Seuda. Yeah, on the morning. Now, Rabbi Zay, we're going to talk about something which on Purim, on Shabbat, I was reading in a Moiridik Pshat. What was the Pshat? What does that mean, Moiridik? It was amazing. An amazing Pshat. When I was in Israel, I bought a book that I've been looking for a long time. The Minhagim of the Rebbe of the Ben Ish Chai. The Rebbe of the Ben Ish Chai, of Salman Eliyahu Mani. Of Eliyahu Mani. He writes over there, how come the Yetzer Hara, the Satan, makes always Janga Nozi on Friday? On Friday, there's always Janga Nozi. Now, on the Pshat level, Everybody's busy. Everybody's trying to get ready. You want to get ready. Your wife wants to get ready. And everybody wants the other person to get the kids ready. So it gets a balagan. But the Rav Eliyahu Saliman Mani, he writes in his book, over there, Zichronot Eliyahu, he says over there, the reason why the Satan picks Friday to make Jam Ganozi, why doesn't he pick every morning? You go to any parent's house in the morning, there's a couple of kids, every morning over there, it's a zoo. But it's not a balagan. Everybody finds their way. On Friday, Dafka, he makes a balagan, makes a fight. Why? Because the Shindalits, when were they created? On Friday, Ben Hashem Ashod. Their power, says the Zichronot Eliyahu, their power is Dafka on Friday. They have a specific power from HaKadosh Baruch Hu because that's the day they were born. Their mazal is high at that day. So that's the time that they find to make a balaganim, kitru. Nice pshat, right? So it says over there that the power of the Purim, when we get to Purim, there is one big Satan. The Satan took a mitzvah and he made that mitzvah into balagan. And I've seen it all the time. Every year I see it. What is that mitzvah? Mishloach manot. Mishloach manot is the one mitzvah that the Ari maybe writes one sentence on. Of course, the Ari's one sentence is a book. But people go so crazy for the Mishloach manot. So make this Mishloach manot, that Mishloach manot. I heard once one rabbi had said, don't send me your Mishloach manot. Do me a favor, don't send me your mishloach. Instead, take that mishloach manot money and put it for matanot le'evyonim. Put it for tzedakah and say, I don't need your mishloach manot. I don't need it. But for what do I need? How do you fulfill the mitzvah of mishloach manot? You take one bottle of seltzer, take one apple, and say, here's for you, mishloach manot. You fulfill the mitzvah, it's done. People go so crazy for the mishloach manot. 17 mishloach manot he buys. And chas v'shalom, he doesn't give a mishloach manot to somebody? Oh my God, Gogu Magog. He didn't remember me. He didn't say thank you to me. He doesn't like, what's the problem? What happened? And no, it's the bigger Satan here. He spends all day giving the mishloach manot. Instead of doing matanot le'evyonim, which is the real mitzvah of that day, instead of doing the Seuda, which is the main mitzvah of that day, he spends all day giving mishloach manot. I remember over here in this shul, one guy came, a very nice guy. He comes, it's already sunset. It's already sunset. He's like, Shalom. I said, yes. He was drunk, so I excused that. He said, Shalom. Where's the vodka? I'm like, what do you mean? This is Lashem. Just open up any cupboard over here. You'll find the vodka. He's like, I didn't drink anything yesterday. I'm like, it's already Shkia. What are you, in Yerushalayim? It's not Shoshan Purim. He said, my wife made me so crazy. Giving mishloach manot, I didn't have time to say hamotzi. This is maaseh yetzer hara. This is maaseh hayetzer. Zeh maaseh hayetzer. You buy one mishloach manot for your parents, one for your neighbor, one for your good friend, and salami aleikum. Really, mishloach manot you're supposed to give to your enemy. That's the real mishloach manot you're supposed to give. Whoever doesn't have enemies, he could give to his friends. Baruch Hashem. But really, the mishloach manot was meant to make peace. Instead of that, the Satan makes that if you don't give the mishloach manot, then you're in the jail. For what? You understand? I'm already saying right now, I'm mochel on everybody's mishloach manot. I'm personally mochel on everybody. Instead, take that mishloach manot, take the money and give it to matanot le'evyonim. Give tzedakah. That's more important. That's more important, Rabbi Isai. Mishloach manot. That's, you take, like I said, a bottle of seltzer, okay, take a bottle of wine, take an apple, take a mezonot, take a piece of candy, give, say, here's mishloach manot. You buy the nice thing, some people spend hundreds of dollars on this thing. Okay, for your parents, do that. To make them feel good. For your parents, do that. Give the nice mishloach manot. But everybody else, Rabbi Yisai, the enzman, you're missing the ha'ara of Purim. You're missing the ha'ara of Purim. We're going to talk right now, what's Purim right now. I hope you guys are going to get it. But that's what I wanted to say about the mishloach. I think it was very important. I remember over here sitting one Purim, right there. I was sitting in the back, and the husband and wife were over here. It's down in the room, and they were very upset at one another. We didn't do enough mishloach manot, and I wanted to tell them, I'm like, guys, that's not the mitzvah of the day. That's not. It's one mishloach manot to one person. If the Chachamim wanted you to give to everybody, they would have said, make a bucket list. with 100 names, and over there, cross out, oh, that's not the mitzvah. So that's why I want to talk about Mishloach Manot. It's a very big mitzvah, but only to one person. You do it for one person, you fulfill the mitzvah, finished. But the real mitzvah that day is tzedakah. Tzedakah, matanot levyonim. Now, Rabotai, let's think clearly for 1 second. Matanot levyonim is not $20. You want to feed somebody, what are you going to buy them, a falafel? This is your matanot levyonim, a piece of, you give matanot levyonim, give beyad ramah, give $50, $100. I personally don't give less than $300 every Purim. That's besides money I always keep in my pocket. Why? In Purim, you turn into the level of Yesod de Chokhmah. There's many Yesods. We always say Yesod is the Brit, Yesod is the Brit, Yesod is the Brit. There are many types of Yesods. Many. We have Yesod, there's 10 Sfirot, correct guys? Yes. We have Keter, we have Chokhmah, we have Bina, then we have the Partzuf called Za. Za is 6 Sfirot, which is Chesed, Gevura, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod itself. Then you have the Sphira of Malchut, which is the Shechina. And also, every one of these spheres have a Yesod. Every one. During the year, you're this Yesod over here.
Yesod of Yesod.
Yesod of Za. And your wife is the Yesod of the Malchut. That's the name of the Yesod of the Malchut is also called Yerushalayim. That's why when you go to Yerushalayim, you feel a certain... I was in Yerushalayim for 4 days, 5 days. Believe me or not one bad thought went through my head. Believe me or not, it was myridic. It was amazing. Inside my head, it also helped that I went to the mikveh every night over there. Over there, mikvahot are open all the time. But still, it was amazing. It was amazing. We were going through one street over there. My brother told me, you feel like the earth is pounding. It's like the heart of the world. It's pounding, giving blood and giving shefa to the whole world over there. It's life. With Jewish people, there's life. There's kedusha. There's tahara. There's life. You go to Kotel, there's people there all the time. You go to Shmuel HaNavi, 3 a.m, there's people over there that went to Shmuel HaNavi. We daven in Shmuel HaNavi. You go to Rabbi Chiyahu Banav, till we were there for 2 hours. People are coming in and out. Came to the Rambam. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's koach. It's koach shel hayudi. Anyways, so you're the Yesod of that. Now, when the Yesod, you're the Yesod, correct? How do you use your Yesod? How do you use it? You have a Yesod, right? Your Yesod, in Shamayim, it's a materialization of the Yesod of Za. Okay? The Yesod of Za, that's a powerful Yesod. It's the second level. Okay? Yerushalayim, which is the Yesod of the Malchut, is a lower level. Correct? It's the womb, it's the uterus. Correct? Now, when you're with your wife and you're making babies, when you're making children, right, you can mikayim mitzvot onah, then you give the tipa, and it goes from your yesod to her yesod. Correct? And if there is a et ratzon, you make a child. Correct? But there is another way to use this yesod. It doesn't have to be the zera. There's another zera. Money. Money is like your nitzotzot. It's your nitzotzot. That's why another tikkun of the Brit is giving tzedakah. When you give tzedakah, you're actually making a zivug. You're making a connection. But not with your wife. The person you're giving it to is like your wife at that moment. The person you're giving it to is like your wife. Now, but that's a very low yesod because of Zah, correct? On Purim, there is a halacha. Kol ha-poshet yad, notnim lo. Anybody, that means he could be a liar, he could be a thief.
A millionaire.
He could be a millionaire. If he goes like this to you, you must give him. If you have, you must give him. During the year, if you think he's a liar, and you think that he's a thief,
you could investigate.
You could investigate. But on Purim, you're not allowed to. Kol ha-poshet yad, notnim lo. That's the mitzvah of the day. Excuse me. Why? Because on Purim, you jump levels of Yesods. You don't even become the Yesod of the Bina. You skip the Bina. You become the Yesod of Chokhmah. This is you. The only thing higher than that is Keter.
When you give. And
when you give.
Giving.
Exactly. When you give matanot le'evyonim. It doesn't say matanot le'aniyim. It says matanot le'evyonim. The word evyon is a different kind of poor than ani. There is ani, there is dal, Then there is Evyon. And Evyon, he's not really poor. That means there's an Evyon. He's poor, but only because he's not in the same stature that he used to be. Yeah, so that means, let's say a guy was a millionaire. He used to drive a Mercedes. Now he's driving a Corolla. For him, it's a mitzvah to give tzedakah so he could drive a Mercedes again. Because he's used to that status of life. Therefore, when you give him tzedakah, even though he's driving a Corolla, but he's used to driving a Mercedes, you're giving him life. That's called an evyon. Matanot. That's why it doesn't say tzedakah le'evyonim. It says matanot le'evyonim. You're giving gifts to evyonim. And therefore, every poor person on Purim, he jumps a level to Binah. He becomes the level of Binah and you become Chokhmah. Every second you give tzedakah on Purim, even $1, 50 cents, whoever opens his hand and you give him something, you become right now Chokhmah. You become Chokhmah. In Kabbalah, Chokhmah has another name. It's also called Abba. A father. A father. When Hashem reveals himself in Chokhmah, we also call him Abba. And in Abba, in the partsuf of Abba, there is no din. It's full life. Everything is chesed. Right? Like a kid at home. He wants something. Who does he go to? He goes to Abba. But the problem with Abba is something else. When he gets angry, it takes him a long time to get angry. But when he does get angry, get out of there. You don't want it to be there. That's Putin. But when he gets angry, why? The source of Abba, we're going to talk about it today. I'm going to teach you a Mayridik Pshat. I don't know why that word got into my head. It's the word of the day. after the shiur. There is a Yiddish dictionary. Buy it and look under the letter Mem. So you're going to see my. So Chokhmah, the root of Chokhmah are 32 Elokims. 32 Elokims. 32 Elokim. Do you know where those 32 Elokims are? In Parashat Bereshit. When God created the world, there's over there 32 Shemot of what? Elokim. Those 32 Elokims are the Lev Nitivot Chokhmah. The 32 pathways of Chokhmah. Every time you give tzedakah and Purim, Matanot Le'evyonim, you turn into Chokhmah. When you turn into Chokhmah, you could ask a wish at that moment. Wow. Because there is no dinim. Everything is chesed. Elokim turns into chesed. Everything is chesed at that moment. Everything is Chokhmah. Ha-Chokhmah techaye ba'aleah. Chokhmah gives life to its owners. That's why Sfaradim used to call their rebbes, they used to call them Chacham. Because a Chokhmah, now Chacham, how do you spell Chacham? Chet, Chaf, Mem. Mem is how much? 40. Chaf is how much? 20. Chet is how much? 8. How much we have? 68. How do you say life in Hebrew? Chaim. Mem is how much? 40. Yud, 20. Chet is 8. Once again, you have 68. Wow. A Chokhmah, from there comes life. From Chokhmah is Chaim. From Chokhmah there is Chaim. So when you give the tzedakah, you're giving Chaim. Mida keneged mida. What are you getting?
Life in return.
Chaim in return. When on Purim you become Yesod Abba, Yesod Chokhmah. Now what else comes from Yesod Abba? The Ari HaKadosh teaches in Kavanat Torah Lishma. Yesod of Abba is the Shorish Neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why in Mordechai was Moshe. And that's why the Jews accepted the Torah again. Because he with the oral Torah, which was the real Torah, that's the real Torah. What are we doing with the written Torah? You can't understand one thing from that book. Put on totafot. Go find what it's an African word, Babshir says the Gemara. Go find out what the word totafot is. Imagine the first time that the Jews heard the word milah. What's milah means a word. Brit milah, brit of the word. They didn't know what it was. Korban. What's a Pesach? They didn't know. Moshe, that teach them in oral Torah. Moshe is Mordechai. They both come from the Yesod. Okay? Now, that's for the mitzvah of tzedakah and Purim. Now, but we didn't talk about the Megillah. Then we're going to get to the Seuda. Okay? So the Megillah is something very big. Let's look at the Megillah. At the moment when you read the Megillah, how do you spell Megillah? Mem, Gimel, Lamed, Hey. We're going to spell it the way it's written by the Chachamim. Okay? Megillah. Al Mikra Megillah. Ashek Edom Sivano, Al Mikra Megillah. Did you guys ever pay attention, says Dari, when you read the Megillah, the Chazan stretches it out all the way? Why does he do it? Because the Megillah is really a big long vav. Why is it a very long vav? The Yesod of Za, which is what we are right now, is a small vav. When we become Yesod Ha'aba, what kind of vav do we become? A big vav. We're full of shefa. On Pesach and Purim, there's no kamtzanut. There is no stinginess. Kol ha-poshet yad notnim lo. You become a really long vav. That's why the kavanah, when you say in Shmonai, say Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam HaMevarech Et Amo Yisrael B'Shalom. Amen. What do we say? Baruch Atah Hashem. Look at the kavanah of your sidur. You have a havaya. What's the nikuda over there? A vav with a dot inside. Shuruk. Hey, I'm going to put it over here. I don't want to write Hashem's name. A hey with a vav and a dot inside. A vav with a vav and a dot inside. Another hey with a vav and a dot inside. Why? It's all about the yesod. When you say Baruch Atah Hashem, you have to have yud shuruk, hey shuruk, vav shuruk, hey shuruk, and that kavanah actually gives you memory. It gives you memory, and it's a tikkun habrit. Okay? Now, in the Megillah, when we stretch it out, the Ari says inside the Yesod, there's 3 Havayas. 3 Yud-Kei Vav-Keis. We call them 3 Cheseds. Like there's 3 columns, so too in your Yesod, you have 3 columns. All 3 columns inside is Chesed, which is a long column, Din, which is a short column, and Rachamim is a middle column. You ever see that instrument? It's like a thing, it goes by levels, right?
Harp.
No.
Also a harp, and there's another one.
A flute.
Is it a flute?
Yeah.
It's a Khalil, right?
Flute.
What did they used to play inside the Beit HaMikdash? A Khalil.
Flake. No.
That's Keneged Chesed, Din, and Rachamim. Each one of those are a Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. One Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, says the Ari. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, 3 names of Hashem. Now, how much is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei? 26. 26 times 3 is how much? 78. What's the gematria of Megillah? I already give it to you. 78. When the Chazan says, Baruch Atah Hashem, Elokeinu Melech Haolam, Asher Kiddushah B'Tzonu Al Mikra Megillah. When he says Megillah, he has to think of 3 Havayas. And he has to have kavanah to give those 3 Havayas to everybody inside the room.
You, the reader.
The reader has to have the kavanah. Whoever has the kavanah. Now, what's another gematria of 78? Lechem. Not only do you have to give tzedakah that day, Hashem also gives lechem to everybody that day. Lechem is also 78. What else is 78? Mazalah. Mazal. 78. To get from the Mazal HaElyon. What's Mazal? Mazalah fixes Zera Levatala. Mazalah, Motzi Zera Levatala. It's Mitaken. Your Mazal fixes the Zera Levatala. Inside the Mikra Megillah is over there secrets of secrets. Where exactly does the secrets happen? I'm going to tell you right now. Then we're going to get to the Seuda real quick. Because we're saying a lot of interesting stuff today. Because I really want you guys to feel the Purim. And Purim, I want to tell you, is the hardest holiday. Why is it the hardest holiday? This is when Mashiach comes. We were talking about this before. It's the only holiday. Some say also Yom Kippur, some say also Hanukkah. But Purim, everybody agrees, it's still going to be kept. So we have to explain what that means. Why is it going to be the only one kept? Because it's still going to be hard to keep. There's still going to be a chidush in keeping it. It's still going to be an avodah. Purim is an avodah. Get drunk. The Torah is so against being drunk. Noach got drunk, he got cut off. Adam HaRishon, according to many Mefarshim, he drank wine that from Etz Hadat. Etz Hadat was wine. He got cut off. Who else? Lot got cut off. Everybody, when Yosef wanted to show his brothers that he liked them, he got drunk. You understand? But still, drunk, that means drunkenness shows, it's not Rava, when he was with Rav Zera, he got drunk and he killed him. It's drunkenness is not something Jewish people do. It's not for us. We don't get drunk. Alcohol is not seen as a positive thing in Judaism. Nothing extraneous that gives you pleasure is seen positive in Judaism. Nothing. It's the truth. What can we say? We gotta say the truth. But yet, on Purim, we say, Chayav. Look at the words of the Chachamim. Chayav inish lebasumi bepuria. A person must get intoxicated on Purim ad de lo yada, until he doesn't know the difference between Baruch, Mordechai, and Arur Haman. Now, ask any drunk guy. Trust me, he'll know the difference between Baruch, Mordechai, and Arur Haman. I've never seen anybody, and I've seen many drunk people in my life, that knows the difference, that won't know between Baruch, Mordechai, and Arur Haman. Now, the Ari says, if Chas v'Shalom, a person gets drunk on Purim, and he says as a joke, Baruch, Haman, and the other way, he does a very big aver. It's like he's Oved Avodah Zarah, Chas v'Shalom. So you can't say it just like, you have to really be intoxicated. But nobody gets to that intoxication. I wonder how the Ari Kadosh got drunk on Purim. It's really, for me, a big tema. What does that mean, get drunk? I understand. I want to know what that means. What is that? Yashan. That's a pshat of the Ramah. The Ramah brings down, you gotta drink a little bit extra so you fall asleep. Then ad de lo yada. But there's many other pshatim over there. That's not the only pshat. Look at the Ramah over there. That he brings 4 or 5 pshats. But still, what does that mean to get drunk? We have to understand, what does it mean? Ad de lo yada. I'm going to give you a pshat today. I'm going to try to read you from a book of my Rebbe. He gave me this book, Shnei Chai Chelik Hey. It gives an interesting pshat over here. Why Purim is ad de lo yada. Maybe we're going to try to reach, maybe getting drunk doesn't mean to get freaked out drunk. Maybe that's not what it means. Maybe it's a state of mind. Maybe it's a state of mind. We're going to see it. I'm going to give you it in short. So first of all, the Megillah. Where in the Megillah do we see the Yesod? The Yesod of Abba. Where do we see it? We see it in a very special place. Remember when Esther, she tells Mordechai, she was his wife, by the way. Her real name was Hadassah. Esther is Istahar, it's a Persian name. Right? As that's what the Mefarshim say. She tells him, I'm going into the king. I wasn't called into him for 30 days. If I go inside without him calling me, he's going to kill me. And they said at that moment, when she was going in, all the guards were saying she's going to die for sure. And they were already, the guards could, they take all her jewelry. That means you take the earrings, you take the ring, you take the dress. They were calling dibs on everything. And that moment she said a chapter of Tehillim. I think it's chapter Alayelet HaShachar. Which chapter is that? 20, 30 something? Alayelet HaShachar, Mizmor David. Everyone, I think it's 21. 22? Chapter 22 she was saying over there, the chapter. That's the chapter of Esther HaMalkah. L'matzeach Alayelet HaShachar. Okay, it's also a big sigula to say that in Alot HaShachar and Purim to say that chapter of Tehillim. She went in. Huh? No, first was David. First David, then Esther was saying the chapter. It was written for her. When Esther went in, at that moment, suddenly, matzah chen be'enav. She found favor in his eyes. The Gemara says he really didn't want to take out the scepter. The Sharvit HaZahav, the golden scepter. What does he do? The Malach Gabriel comes and kind of forces his hand to stick out. I know, Gabriel, you feel the Kiddusha over there. And he sticks out his hand of the golden scepter. That gold scepter is the Yesod of Abba. Is the Yesod of the Chokhmah. That's the gold. It's also called Sharvit HaZahav. I always used to say when I was very younger, I was very into the Mikra Megillah. And I always used to say, if I one day write a book, I'm going to call it Sharvit HaZahav. I never saw a book with the name Sharvit HaZahav. The Yesod the Abba. Yesod of Chokhmah. Sharvit HaZahav. Don't steal it from me. So it says, and when she gets to him, the Megillah repeats a word over and over again. It's kind of interesting how it repeats that word. It says she's standing opposite of him. She stands opposite of Achashverosh. She stands opposite of the king. In Hebrew, opposite is the word Nochach HaMelech. She's standing opposite the king. What's the Gematria of Nochach? Says the Ari. 78. Her kavanah when she went inside that Hashem should give her that mazala. And she should bring the 3 havayot. And by doing that, he'll stick out her scepter. It wasn't that she went in over there, she's crying, Hashem, send me. It was kavanot. She went over there giving kavanot. She caused Malach Gabriel to put out the scepter. It was her kavanah. She made, it's Megillat at Mordechai. Megillat Esther. She created the Megillah. She put him out the Sharvit HaZahav. But with all the Sharvit HaZahav and the Megillah, the Ari HaKadosh says, once you finish the Megillah, give Matanot LeEvyonim, and give the Mishloach Manot, that Ha'ara of the Megillah is done. You did the mitzvah?
Done.
Done. For 30 minutes you heard the Megillah, 30 minutes you got the Shefa, after he's finished, it's done. How do you use the Shefa of Purim and make it last all day?
Seuda.
Or you could do that. I don't think you want to do that though, right? Seudat Purim. Seudat Purim. What's Seudat Purim? What was Purim? Purim was a goral. Now, what's the connection between Purim and Yom Kippur? Very simple. It was the lottery. It was the lottery. Purim was done by a lottery. Yom Kippur, the main thing was the two seirim, the two goats, the identical goats. How did the Kohen Gadol choose them? Through a lottery. He used the lottery. We see an amazing connection between Yom Kippur and Purim. on Purim, it says over there, Elimelech Biderman says this. He says, on Purim, when Zeresh, that evil woman, she goes to Haman and says, go to the king and tell him to hang Mordechai. So the Shem Mishmuel says, what is he, a joke for you? What's Achashverosh, a joke for Haman? Go tell him to hang Mordechai. What is he, your friend? He's the king. He's a king of 127 countries. More than Putin. More than Stalin. He was 127 from India to Ethiopia. That's a huge chunk of land. Huge. So Shem Shmuel says, what happened on that day? Instead of, really the Gemara says, Machloket Rav and Shmuel. Rav said that Achashverosh made Haman more powerful than him. He made him a podium, and he told Haman, you sit on top of that podium, and Achashverosh was like, you run the country, I'm just the one that signs.
It's like Yosef.
Like Yosef and Paro. He was more powerful. Shmuel says something crazier. Hashem made Haman more powerful than him. Kiviyachol, Hashem was listening to what Haman wanted. That's what Haman said to Achashverosh, their God is sleeping. Kiviyachol. The Gemara says this. Guys, forget about him. They're done. They're ours. What happened? V'nahafochu. What's v'nahafochu? The complete opposite. Asher yishletu haYehudim hema b'sonehem. What happened? Mordechai takes Haman's house, hangs his 10 sons, and that eventually leads to the Beit Sheni, the building of the second temple with Ezra and Nehemiah, which is Zerubbabel. So what do we see, says the Shem Mishmuel? Just like Haman had the power to tell Hashem to do whatever he wants, and then the Jews took that power from him, on Purim, don't waste your time. You could tell Hashem to do whatever you want. Just like he could emor lamelech, so too you could also emor lamelech. You could tell the king to do, but only if you're in a Seuda. You gotta be in the Seuda, you gotta be mamshich the shefa.
You gotta be chilling.
You gotta be chilling that day. What does it mean ad delo yada, until he doesn't know? I'm gonna tell you my pshat. What's the tikkun? The first avera. What? It's hadat. Adam was in a state of ad delo yada. He traded that for what? Yada. He wanted to know. He was like a baby before. He didn't know the difference between good and bad. He wanted to know. Purim is the tikkun of Adam, ad delo yada, until he doesn't know. And that's why this avera was with what? Wine. And this mitzvah is with what? Wine. But the problem is, if we're going to drink wine and talk like Achashverosh, we're doing an avera. But if you're going to drink wine and turn into a tzaddik, nichnas yain, yatsa sod, then you do the tikkun for the chet adam harishon. As the Gemara in Megillah says, Goyim, when they drink wine, what did they start talking about? Women. Zima. When a Jew drinks wine, he has to start talking mitzvot. Start talking Torah. No. Maybe Zelensky, not us. Yeah, start talking about Torah and mitzvot. So what do we see from here? Ad delo yada is the tikkun chet adam harishon. It's a tikkun chet. It was ad de lo yada. What was his problem? It's hadat. Now I'm going to read you something from the Sefer over here. What's the secret of ad de lo yada? Remember I told you, Rabbi Isai, the Seudat Purim, there is 10 sfirot, right? Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, the 6 I'm just going to call Za. And then you have Malchut, yeah?
Yes.
Malchut is also called the Shechina. Za, Chokhmah is called Abba. Bina is called Ima. Keter is called Arich. Arich. Those are 5 partsufim. Says in this book Shnei Chayei, he says over here, Lefi darkenu lamadnu. These 5 levels of Arich, Abba, Ima, Za, and Shechina, there's 5 levels. They're keneged, they're equal to the 5 ways you have to do a mitzvah. When you do the action of the mitzvah, the ma'aseh, you're fixing the malchut. So the action is the malchut. Za is when you talk the mitzvah. Dibur. When you have kavanah of the mitzvah, kavana, it's ima. How does kavanah work? I have kavanah and I'm doing a mitzvah. I'm not just jumping into a pool. I'm going into a mikveh. That's called kavanah. Chokhmah is machshava. What's machshava in the lowest level? I'm doing it for Hashem. I'm not doing it to make money. I'm not doing it to be successful, to get a zivug. I'm doing it for, that's called machshava. Higher than machshava is keter. How do you do the mitzvah with keter? Remember, if you don't do the mitzvah these 5 ways, you're coming back in a gilgul. So you better get used to knowing this code. Says the Ari. If you don't, every mitzvah, learning Torah, putting on tefillin, say lachaim. If you don't do a mitzvah these 5 ways, you're making a pagam in your mitzvah. He's losing a hand, he's losing a head, he's losing something. Okay, so you better get used to doing the mitzvah these 5 ways. What? And if when you're gonna hear the 5th level, you're gonna go crazy because the 5th level is reuta deliba, simcha. You gotta do the mitzvah with happiness.
How about what if you do it with happiness? You skip all those things.
That means even when you're saying vidui, ana Hashem Hashamnu bagadnu, you still have to be happy. Yeah, it's written in the book, Mecheri Aretz. You have to be happy when you do a mitzvah. Now, says the book, Shnei Chayei, what is Mishenichnas Adar? Marbin besimcha. That means when Adar comes, you're already in the Keter. What's above Arich? What's above Keter? It's a special sphera that you guys never heard about. It's called Atik. Atik Yomin. Atika Kadisha. Atik. Do you know what Atik is? Atik is Mishenichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha Ad Delo Yada. When you can't know it. It's impossible to know it. You don't know what the avoda is. It's like when you go into the I don't know, the Hasidim have what do you call those tissues? You're just in there. You're just jumping with everybody. You're just you're in the fray. You're in the craziness. You don't know what you're doing. You're just in it. Everybody, you're just in it. That's called ad delo yada. He says this is where Purim is. That's why everybody has a problem with Purim. They don't know how to keep it. What do you mean get drunk? What am I supposed to do? I'm drunk now. Now what? I'm supposed to throw up on the floor like a behemoth? And it's a chilul Hashem. By the way, whoever drives when they're drunk, it's a big avera. Don't get behind the wheel if you drink.
It's the violation.
It's a violation. Forget about the body. What about people on the streets? Understand? Atik is ad delo yada. And every moment you're in Seudat Purim, you could reach the level. But ad delo yada cannot be when you're drinking. Drinking is just a secret. It's just a secret of how your state of mind is supposed to be. When you get to Purim, you know what the secret is? Ad delo yada, I don't need anything. That's our problem with Purim. Because we're so used to in life asking Hashem for something. I want kids, I want money, I want family, I want this, I want that. We don't know how to deal with completeness. And that's what Mashiach will teach us, by the way. Mashiach will teach us how to deal with satiation. How do I deal with now I'm full, I'm good? What's the avodah now? That's why we have a problem with Purim. That's why people run after the Mishloach Manot, because Mishloach Manot is what? It's avodah. It's something tangible. It's something I could see, I could work. How long could I be in a Seuda for? No, but you want Mashiach, right? What does it say in the Rambam? The world is going to take out trees full of bread. So what am I supposed to do now?
You're going to be in a sense of euphoria.
Then you have to be like a kid. Ad delo. Yeah. That's what Adam HaRishon's problem was. He didn't know how to deal with it. How am I supposed to? I want avodah. Adam said, the book Leshon Shov Achlama. Adam said, I want to fight. I want to fight the Satan. I want to do something. I'm bored. Hashem said, wait. Let Shabbat come in. Let the Shabbat come in. You're going to see you have work to do. Don't worry about it. He said, I cannot wait. He was too zealous. He went to find it. Leshon Shov Achlama says, Adam went to find the test. Noach went to find the test. They went to find it. And we're all trying. That's why when Mashiach comes, what's the holiday that's going to stay? Purim. Because that is the time of Mashiach. So before we get to this holy day, Hashem Yitbarach, Seudat Purim, and I think this is maybe the one shiur you hear in your life that I really touched on all 5 parts in a short, sweet way, talking about Ari HaKadosh in ways that you guys will never hear. Maybe we'll never hear. When you get to Purim, think a moment before you get into that day. It's a very special day. Don't waste the moment. Don't think the moment is to go to a party and dance and throw up and go crazy. That's not Purim. It's a state of mind. Drink. That's why the Ramah says, drink a little extra. The Ramah wouldn't tell you to go against halacha. So the Gemara says, Rava killed Rav Zera. Maybe I should go around with a knife and a machete. No, that's not the halacha. It's a state of mind. Ad delo yada. Work on yourself till that day. How do I get to the ability of, I don't need anything. That's Purim. Ad delo yada. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hananel ben Akashia.